back to the Alive Company. Today, we're gonna be talking about engineering and how it's actually not that hard. If you know an engineer, you have an engineer friend, you probably think, oh man, that guy's so smart. That guy knows how to do calculus. He knows how to pass all these crazy classes. He knows that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. No. An engineer solves problems. Anybody can be an engineer. So my question is, what is stopping you from becoming the engineer that you've always wanted to be, or doing the engineering field that you've always wanted to try? Because listen, there are 4 things with one extra hidden thing that you may not know of that you need in order to decide if you want to become an engineer. And they're not that crazy. You have to be a strong problem solver. Now, being a strong problem solver does not mean that you are really good at math, that you are really good at writing essays and doing things academically. No, it means something completely different. Solving a problem does not mean that you are able to memorize something and spit it out. If that was the way to solve every single problem, then AI would already solve all of our problems. And guess what? AI is not solving all of our problems, and it won't be anytime soon, because humans have this thing, this ability to reason and think outside of the box, to actually create a creative solution while having none of the tools and parts in front of them. Think about technology. Think about everything in the past that has been created and is now a mainstay of today. We started with the printing press. We got to computers that didn't even have an operating system. A computer was a literal job. You could be a computer. Your job was to do math and to write things down for people. And that was a literal physical role. The people who were in this role, right? They knew that there was a way to make this problem of needing thousands of computers, as in people, to solve problems that didn't really have a high reliability, right? They needed to figure out a way to make it so that this problem would be solved. And guess what? Rather than just accepting the way that things were and just being okay with this problem being a problem for the rest of their life, they did something about it and created a personal computer. Now, I'm not sure who was the real person who developed the personal computer, probably Thomas Computer back in 1862. But think about it. A strong problem solver is resourceful. He sees something, he does something, and he gets a result out of it. So let's imagine that you want to become an engineer, and you say to yourself, man, what is something that I can do to prove to myself that I would be a good engineer? That's literally solving any sort of problem that you have within your life or within somebody else's life. Think about it. All businesses do is solve people's problems. They save time, they save money, and they make it so that there's just less of a headache in the world, and people are willing to pay money in order to solve that solution. That's engineering. That's solving problems. That's what being an engineer is. It's not that difficult. You have uncut grass. Your neighbor needs to move in a really big couch. Listen, there's ways for you to use engineering, science, math, some sort of physics, anything, to get those things done. Instead of having to hire somebody out to lift the couch, why don't you just put a piece of a 2x4 down and attach a rope to it and just try helping pull up the couch into their room or something like that, right? Use what you know, science and math, in order to solve problems, and then you're automatically an engineer. Guys, engineering does not come from studying a book and studying what is on a page. It comes from lived experience and solving problems in the most efficient way with the least amount of resources. Now, obviously, you can be an engineer that solves the least amount of problems with the most amount of resources, but we're trying to be realistic here. We're trying to be an ideal engineer. We're trying to figure out what it means to be an engineer. And solving problems is exactly that. You have to be motivated to do so. Nobody told the guy who made the printing press that the printing press needed to be made. He just saw a problem and he knew that there needed to be technology in order to make that problem go away. And that's what he did. He took the technology from making paper. He took the technology from making ink. And he just slapped them all together and he created technology out of that. And that technology literally powered the entirety of society for hundreds of years after that. All because he saw a problem and he knew that was a problem that needed to be solved. So if you want to be an engineer, if you are afraid of engineering, don't be. All engineers need to do is solve problems, and anybody can do that. Now, what's the next thing you need in order to be an engineer? It isn't a really expensive college degree. It isn't some sort of mentor that's going to change your life and is a guru and meditates and takes cold showers every single morning. No, it's attention to detail. Watch this. Please subscribe, guys. Leave a like down below and make sure that you follow all my accounts and whatever, right? Now, Google has a feature that allows the subscribe button to become a certain color when I say subscribe or please like the video. That is attention to detail. Listen, attention to detail is not so much of you being able to see or pick out something out of a crowd or out of a hat. Being observant is one of the trait skills of an engineer. When you see a person, when you see anything, you see that there might be something that you can do in order to improve the way that person is living their life or make it marginally better. Now, that little like and subscribe feature in the little bottom down there might not be making anybody's life better or like changing the world, but you know what it might do? It might make you think that Google or whatever, YouTube, is a better company, or it has features that actually make it easier for creators to create, right? This is the little attention to detail that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but is so important when you're trying to solve problems and be an engineer. An engineer is able to see and look at problems and say, I'm going to solve them, but I'm also going to add this little thing on top of it that will just make this product so much better, or make this product really resonate with the people who are actually using it. Understanding that there might be a little something different or something that you can change in order to make a scene or anything in your life better is what an engineer needs to be able to do. They need to be able to say to themselves, hey, the knob on this little 3D printer is not good enough for me to screw because it hurts my fingers. I'm going to create and make a new knob that allows me to screw this in because I have a grandma and she uses a 3D printer. And I know my grandma's fingers aren't strong enough to grab this little thing. They're strong enough for me, but not strong enough for another person. So you're going to be observant. You're going to know that there needs to be solutions for everybody. You're going to know that there needs to be a way for you to create the best solution to all of the problems that you have. And being an engineer is all about that. So you now have attention to detail. You are now able to see things that other people aren't. You are able to observe and notice that things might be better if you just changed one little thing, right? But what's actually going to make you motivated to go out and solve that problem and actually observe that issue? It's curiosity. Now, I'm going to go back in time. I remember when I was a kid, I had CDs. I had a Batman computer. I had Leapfrog. I had all these things where I was like, I just wonder what's on the inside of them. And I would like smash them. I would like break stuff. I would like try figuring out how to tear it apart and just see what was different. I had game consoles that I would do that to. I destroyed a perfectly good PS3 because I wanted to fix one of the HDMI ports because I thought that I could. I was curious enough to do so. To be an engineer, to understand what engineering is all about, you have to ask yourself, what is curiosity about? What makes people want to solve problems? What makes people want to actually do things and figure out and observe certain things? It's actually built within us. You can't think about how we are without having to think about our ancestors and how did they act and how they survived. Because if you really think about it, the only reason that we are alive is because our ancestors were smart enough to have kids, survive, have a family, have another family, and those were smart enough to survive, reproduce, and continue the bloodline, and now we're all here. Think about how many generations, literally hundreds of generations of people before you there are. You are so lucky. You are amazingly gifted to be alive right now on this day because your entire ancestry, your entire bloodline had to work so hard and survive so many hardships to be here. Other than that, right? Why? Why did they survive? Why were they the ones who made it out of the caves? Why were they the ones who were able to survive and create a family? It's because of curiosity. Now think about this. You're a human and you're in a little shack, right? And all you have is that shack. Now, people in your tribe, people who are with you, they might be satisfied with the little bout of food that they have. They're hunting, they're gathering. It takes a lot of effort. You only do it throughout the season at one time of the year. And you have an idea. You have curiosity. You say to yourself, I'm going to walk all the way down and see the end of this river that we live near, right? And that river goes up and it goes down. And, that's where you guys clean your food. That's where you guys wash and shower. But you ask yourself, what's at the end of that river? And you walk down that river. You see and you walk and you walk and you walk and you get to the end and you see the ocean. And you say to yourself, there's fish that we eat in this small river, but there's probably bigger fish in this big river. So I'm going to make technology or some sort of tool in order to catch fish and create some sort of food and survive for my family. Your family could have been the one who created the fishing net, who could have been the one who engineered the way to smoke and create food that's like actually gonna last longer. Curiosity and being able to figure out solutions to problems is what predicated the human race to survive and evolve. And you cannot argue about that, because what else would we be without curiosity? We would be still in our little shacks and our little huts, eating dirt, not growing and not evolving into the people and complex individuals that we are today. So curiosity is so important. Curiosity is what makes us human, and it's why everybody's an engineer, or at least one of our ancestors had to be an engineer, right? Everybody has a way to solve problems, because you wouldn't survive without solving problems. You wouldn't be here if your ancestor had not solved some sort of problem or created some sort of solution in order for us to be here. They had to be smart enough to do one thing, and that's to survive. Because survival is so much harder back in those days. You don't even understand how good we have it today. It was insanity. Curiosity is necessary in order to be an engineer. You have to understand that being curious is a part of you. It's literally baked into your blood. And if you are not curious, you have to be, because curiosity is what will keep you alive. It will keep you alive, it will keep you making new things. It'll keep you trying out and like existing and feeling and just being yourself. Because when you learn new things, when you do new things, that's when you will become you. And you'll become an engineer by the end of it. So we've gone through a couple of things. You're curious, you want to solve problems, and you have attention to detail. But what about this last thing? What about this thing that not enough people really think about? It's the ability to observe and analyze your failures. Every single engineer has failed so many times. You failed a class, you didn't solve a problem that you needed to solve, you weren't able to perform well, and you lost your job or something like that. Every engineer is not perfect, because it is a part of engineering to fail. Sometimes you won't be able to solve problems. Sometimes you just won't have the solution. But being able to observe and analyze and get better after that happens is what is necessary to become an engineer. Engineering is not difficult, but being able to actually ask yourself what went wrong there is. Being able to say, I messed up. And I acknowledge that, and I am going to be better next time, is something that not many people are actually able to do, because not many people are willing to take on that pain. It's a painful process to do this. It's painful to look at your work, look at your solution, look at your curiosity, and you say to yourself, hey, at least I tried and I will do better next time. Being an engineer requires this. It's being able to actually look at yourself in the mirror and say that I failed and it's okay, I'm gonna do better next time. Because the next time might be the biggest time, might be the time that matters the most. It might be the time that you're building a bridge that if that bridge doesn't stand the exact forces that are being placed upon it, people will get hurt and people will die. Think about being a software engineer. Think about working at Google, working at some sort of tech company that deals with pacemakers or some sort of technology that people rely on. Being an engineer is being able to tell yourself, no, I'm not going to release this product. No, I'm not going to actually put this thing out because it's not ready and I know it's not. And I am going to do my absolute best to actually solve the problem that is set in front of me, and I won't make shortcuts. And I won't be somebody who says, whatever, it just is what it is. I guess these people are going to have to deal with this solution that I came up with. No. You will not be like that, because you are going to be a good engineer. And if you got to this part of the video, I already know that you are. So being able to observe and analyze your failures, being able to actually ask yourself what went wrong here and what can I do differently, that is, I would say, one of the hardest things about engineering. Because, the other stuff is easy, right? You say, okay, yeah, I 3D print stuff. Oh yeah, I make polymer clay figures. I sell those. I'm creating a solution for somebody. I'm curious. I observe things. I see things what people like. But are you willing to say that you're wrong? Are you willing to push back all your narcissism and say to the world, hey, I'm not that important, but what I'm doing and what I'm trying to create is the best version of what I'm trying to do? And maybe it's not ready yet? Are you ready to do that? Because I know not a lot of people are. I personally understand how difficult that is. I mean, look at this channel. Look at the content that I'm creating. I know it's not perfect, but I am getting better, and I will get better. And I hope that you understand that as well. So if you are enjoying the video, if you want to join the Alive company and try self-improvement through engineering, then leave a follow and leave a like. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. What is the one skill that not enough people know and understand that is necessary to be an engineer. And guys, this might be what people say is the easiest one, but it takes so much time to get better at. It's literally what our entire society is founded off of, and that's communication. This is going to get serious here for a second. Likability is probably one of the most important factors when it comes to getting any sort of job or any sort of role in which you are successful. Likability is the ability for me to look at you, have a conversation with you, and say to myself, I would enjoy working with this person, even though they might not know, the exact things I need for this role, even though they're not a perfect candidate in terms of their experience they have. I like this person and I want to work with them because I know that keeping them in the office or keeping them around me or helping me with any sort of solution is going to be a good time because this person's a good person. That is likability. It's being able to be benevolent and being able to be okay with all of these other things. You have to be curious. You have to have attention to detail. You have to analyze where you've gone wrong, and you have to want to be a problem solver. And then there's that fifth one. It's you have to be likable while you're at it. Nobody likes somebody who is a jerk. If you think that you are better than anybody else who is an engineer, if you are a better person than the people who are trying their hardest and trying to create solutions, and you're better at creating them solutions than them, then you lost the whole point of engineering. And it's probably why the people who, even though they have a great resume and they're able to, say that, oh yeah, I was the leader of this and I did all this stuff and I'm amazing and you gotta hire me, Google, come on. Those are the people that sometimes don't get hired, and it's the people who just are able to actually explain themselves and talk through a problem and admit that I don't know the solution. And those are the people that get hired. Those are the people that succeed. Those are the people that actually go and move up in the world and actually become the best version of an engineer. All of my best managers so far are the ones that would admit to me that they sometimes don't know what they're doing either, that they sometimes need help and that they need to create something with me and see what is best for me. I remember sitting down and being with my manager and just realizing that this is just a guy. This is just a guy who's trying to solve a problem like me, that he's inspired by the company's motto. He's inspired by what the company creates, and he's at a level where he can teach me about it. And I was able to get so much value and learn so much off of that because that man, great engineer and great person as well. So engineering is not what you think it is. Engineering is not about being the best person in your class, being the smartest person at timetables, the guy who can do the calculus the best, who can memorize the most amount of chemistry facts and things like that. An engineer is somebody who does 4 things with one hidden one. You need to be a strong problem solver. You need to observe. You need to be curious. You need to analyze your failures, and you need to be a good communicator. This is the most important one here, guys. You need to be able to talk to somebody and be likable and just be a good person, because if you have these 4 things without this one, you can't do anything. If we only had these 4 fingers, if humans only had this, we wouldn't be able to grab onto anything. We wouldn't be able to use our cameras. This is the one you need the most. Be a good communicator. Be somebody who can work with other people. Be somebody with all of those 4 other things. They are able to be likable. They are able to work with a team. They are able to say to themselves, I identify with the mission of us, of the world, of trying to be better, to trying to be the best engineer. And I want to help you. I want to improve, and I want to create the best solution possible. The goal should be to solve problems. Engineering isn't that complicated. Anybody can be an engineer. Remember that. The goal is to solve problems and to solve problems well, to help people, to make the world a better place, to be that ancestor that you think about and is yeah, you know what? He must have been pretty smart in order to get us here. Because guess what? All of your other ancestors were. Everybody else had to do something right in order to get you to here. Engineering is not that difficult. Engineering is not impossible. Engineering is easy, actually. This is Matt from the Live Company. Hope you learned something. And thanks for watching. Peace!